My name is SUMBO Oladipo. I trained as an Estate Surveyor and Valuer, and I had a practice in that field for just about 5 years. And within those 5 years, I'd worked with chartered surveyors, I'd worked in engineering, I'd worked in mortgage banking, so it's been quite a journey, even in my practice as an Estate Surveyor and Valuer. But then in the last couple of years, a little over a decade, I ventured into evaluations. So I do a lot of consulting work in monitoring and evaluation, both locally and for international NGOs, donors as we call them. And then also I'm involved in NGOs. Aside that, that would be on the mainstream of should I say professional or occupation, whichever one, or maybe just, something that flows here and there. But in addition to that, I've done a lot of writing. That is talent that I put to use. So I've done writings, whether books, whether articles, whether publications, including script writing. I've done quite a few of that also. So it's really, quite a lot of stuff that I have in there. I believe that at every stage of one's life, you meet people along the way. And all of these things are, they form a tapestry of your entire calling in life, of your destiny, your destination, and whatever name you call it. So the other aspect of my life, which is the Christian aspect of it, that's the faith that I practice, that I've come to believe in. So it is in the course of that I met the man we usually would call Pake Kayode Adigun, who is actually I would say, the overall visionary of the project Trustees of True Riches. Now, I'm in my 50s, so obviously, especially in this part of our world, a lot of challenges, some failures here and there, the entire potpourri of what life offers. But in all of that, a couple of experiences that you would have taken out, along the way. Going back to your question directly, is the fact that why am I interested? My interest is tied to the vision and the objectives, the goals of the project itself. And that is basically, reaching out to the next generation, the generation that is so you want to kind of, shape on that generation. You want to kind of, release some values that you have garnered over the years, some virtues that we in retrospect have found out to have been the things that have propelled us to where we are. And you want to kind of, pour that out into them so that peradventure you'll be able to raise a next generation of youngsters who would carry some, some values, some virtues that would make them become leaders of industries and by extension, leaders of the nation. Because we have a long way to go in this country, even now. We just concluded the elections. We know what that has generated. And you are looking for that new breed, as they say, of young people who will be kind of cut off from the challenges of the old, from the things that the old have put their hands into, and you are trying to look at, how do we raise a generation that will do better? Now, how do we intend to do that? The work plan that we have, the charter that we have different aspects that we want to pursue. And technically, for me, I would be in the academy, basically, where we intend to do training, coaching, mentoring, and then, after some time, maybe have some people in residency, for startups. So you just want to deploy the resources you have gained over the years professionally and otherwise, whether it's talent, whether it's, occupation-wise, whether the things that you have picked on along the line, indeed, including the mistakes that you have made, and then you have seen that these were mistakes that if you hadn't gone this way, peradventure you would have gotten to this place and maybe faster and easier. So basically, it's just passing on to the next generation values and virtues that are core and that would help to build a nation and take this nation particularly to greater heights. The overall goal of the Trustees of True Riches, if we talk about the end goal, we're looking at long term. For me personally, I think it would be and should be a continuum, in which case you don't actually, get to a point where you feel, okay, it's been achieved. As long as we have generations coming one after the other, you continue to invest in them. And so the entire project continues and really does not come to an end. But if you talk in terms of the output, which I think that would be, a right word, what would be the output? The output we're looking at is if peradventure we can, pull together over a couple of years. I think we're looking at the first 5 years. If we are able to pull out within 5 years, take for instance, a couple of people who would, imbibe these values, who would imbibe these virtues, who would be very serious with them, who would push them forth, I think that we would have begun the journey of change that we're looking out for in Nigeria. And, because the world is a global village now, it's not, it's near impossible, I would use the word, for somebody to make great impact in one nation and it is not heard of, it does not resound in other nations of the world. So we're looking for champions, so to speak. We're looking for people who will push through a cause, and that cause is change. We just need a change in the nation. And when we talk about needing a change in the nation, we're also talking about the 7 mountains of culture that make up any society. So we're not just looking out for change in governance, we're looking out for change in families. Because if you take a look at it again, you find out that the family sector is completely broken down. If we're talking about values, we're talking about virtues, that's actually the major place where you begin. There's been quite an erosion of these things within the family. So you're looking at the family, you're looking at the economy, you're looking at, the media, you're looking at every area of play within any society. We hope to touch all of these areas through these people that we'll be raising, who will imbibe this culture that we are bringing. And we're hoping that at the end of the day, there would be a multiplier effect. Take, for instance, we raise 100, the 100 raise another 100, and that's why we have the mentoring aspect of the academy and of the work. So basically, that's the kind of outlook we're looking at. At the end of the day, we'll have a critical mass of people who can change the narrative of the nation Nigeria. It's something that I'd always told myself that, look, at some point in time in my life, maybe this might be my retirement walk, I was going to set up an academy, no matter how small it would be, and all I would be trying to do is investing in young people, and especially talking about integrity and industry. And it's amazing that it's just occurring to me now that, oh my God, I had this in mind all the while, and this is the expression that I'm finding. So for me, it's a fulfillment of a desire, of a vision that is also personal. This is still very much in the embryo. Yes, we have the concept, we have the plans, and we're just about to begin rolling out. And we're going to begin rolling out with the academy. So we're going to start with the trainings, the coaching, and go on to mentoring. Why? Because you need to prepare people for the task ahead. So I think my first invitation would be to people who are desirous of this kind of learning, and the older generation who feel that They may not necessarily need the learning or the teachings, but they have young people that they can recommend. So by the time we open up these applications, we hope that we will have people who will come in, and that would be one aspect of it. Another aspect of the ToTR, which I didn't mention, the kind of NGO aspect of it. Well, it's an NGO in totality, but we're looking at some form of corporate social responsibility, some kind of humanitarian work. We hope to do a lot on that, and of course we would need partnerships, we would need funding. So in any way, either partnership in terms of professional support, in terms of expertise support, and then of course in terms of funding, in terms of ideas, any form of resource, human resource, any form of resource at all would be needed. Nothing would be too small, nothing would be too big. Networkings, collaborations, all the works. As we progress, we will continue to put the word out there for people to join. It would be an open invitation once we set the ball rolling.